What is up, guys? Welcome to another edition of Average Aaron's Auto Videos, and today I've got a 2012 Prius with just over 100,000 miles. And up here in Alaska, we've had two pretty good snows, but then it's melted, and it was only September, so winter came a little early. And I'm concerned about the front fascia of my car, and I would like to protect it a little bit. So to do that, I'm going to get it out of harm's way by lifting it up 1.5 inches. So I bought a lift kit so I can take this Prius just a little higher, get it up off the ground. And so the way that we're going to go about doing that is, first you want to set your parking brake, and I put two pieces of wood behind the rear wheels just to get started. Then you're going to take off your wipers. Now I've already done that, and they're 14 millimeters. The passenger side wiper is here, mounted with the two 14 millimeter bolts. Real easy to get off, and you just got to wiggle left and right. But this bad boy here, once you get a little screwdriver and lift the tip off, it's going to look like this. Now I recommend bending it like this at this angle and then trying to lift it up, because there's a little bit of downward pressure which puts kind of like some angular torsion on, or angular bend on it as you're trying to lift it off straight, and it's hard to do that. So if you just lift it up off the windshield so that it sits like this instead of being down, that's a lot easier to lift and get off. So that's the first piece you'll need to do. And then we're going to end up taking off this entire top piece here in order to get to the windshield wiper motor and remove some of that. But before we do that, one of the things you want to do is pop off these end clips here. And so you just stick a screwdriver, and I've already done this one, and you can kind of lift that up real gentle over there. And then maybe I can do this while I'm filming. We shall see. Yep, scoot it in and just kind of wiggle it up. Now I'm going to stop because I don't want to break any of this while I'm doing it, so I'm going to use two hands on that, but I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like when I get it off. All right, I got that piece off, and then I already had that there. That wasn't from this. And you can see windshield's a little dirty. I'll clean that later. And then the bottom of this just kind of looks like this. So this piece just has to be pinched, pried up, and this sits in the other groove that you see right there. All right, next you want to come along here and start getting some of these clips. There's like 5 or 6 of them across the bottom there, and then there's also one over here. So I'm going to get those real quick. One piece I did forget about real quick are these circular little fasteners. Those things are, well, they're kind of brittle in the cold up here. You can kind of squeeze all 4 sides and get that up. I can't do it with one hand, but my other one broke on the other side. So if you have some extra fasteners, I recommend getting a couple of those, because those tend to break if your car is over 10 years old like this one. All right, so I got those clips. Kind of lift it up all around, and this part comes off, and you can finally get the dust off the very bottom part of the windshield, which I know you've all been aching to do. All right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the windshield wiper motor, but let me get the sizes so I can tell you what those bolts are. All right, that bolt size is the size 10, so I see I got to get this one here, that one there, that one back there, and I got that one up there. There's 4. I'm sure I'm missing one somewhere, but I'll come back and find and get that one in a second. And then basically after you do that, you're going to go after these metal bolts here, because you want to move this cowling so you can get inside there. Also, if you park your car outdoors, rats and birds and things love to build little nests in here, along on the other side as well too. So you may have a lot of stuff in here. I recommend, just blowing some of that out of there. And then you also have 2 bolts in the back up there that you'll need to get out as well too, and I think those are all 10 millimeters. So let me get this motor out and we'll check the progress there. All right, I was right, it was just those 4 bolts, but on the back you've got that rubber grooved piece right back there that sits in that hook that you'll have to slide to the left to pull that out. And then before I disassemble anything else, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect some of the electrical here, because I know that's going to come out. And then there's these 2 clips, one here and then one right there. You want to be real careful about pulling those out so you don't damage those. All right, so I'm actually not going to disconnect the motor, that piece right there. All I have to do is remove these 2 clamps, which this is what they look like. So if you squeeze each side like this, they'll pop right up and out of there. But because that bracket was there, I had to come this way with a set of needle nose pliers and get in there like this underneath to pinch to get those out of there. So that's what I did. Next, I'm going to start removing all these other bolts and get this piece out of here so I have access to the tower bolts here and can get the shock out. But first, Before I kick, actually I'll go ahead and do this and then I'll remove the wheels. All right, I did get it out, and so I'm gonna just show you guys what it looks like with it out. Didn't have to detach the electrical from this motor. But then also, as you pull this out, you do got to do some finagling. But I recommend this piece, kind of bring that down so you can get it out. And then over here, this piece folds, so once you get into place, and then push it back up, get this clip in there. Kind of help keep the seal how it's supposed to go. So I hope that helps you guys for that portion. All right, now what I'm going to do is loosen the lug nuts on the wheels and jack the car up, because these are the bolts you need access to right here in order to mount them, the new spacer on there. But I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. Once I loosen these, jack it up and then go from there. All right, so I hardcore skipped some steps here as I walked through this, but it wasn't too bad. I will say what took the longest were these 22mm bolts. That went right here. That was one of them, right there. And then, it's not great light, but it went right there and went through the top part of the strut. And then the other one went right underneath it. Right in there. So I just had two 22s, got those out, but I had to use some spray to clear it. And then I also got this bolt off over here that was attached to it. I think that was a 14 millimeter, maybe a 16 or 17, somewhere in there. I just can't remember, but I'll remember when I put it back on. And then once I did that, got all those three off, you also got to make sure that you detach the ABS line and the brake line over here. And that was a 12 millimeter. That one's really easy to see. And then it's just a little spin down. And then you had this silly part, this plastic, this wire right here was routed into a plastic holder. You don't have to get the whole clip out. You just pop this wire out of the top of the holder. It makes it a lot easier. Then you come on top here, remove these 14 millimeter bolts, and then boom, you've got this right here. So the key component of this is make sure that when you put this thing on here on the top, one says D and one says P. I don't know if you can see that D, but it's right there. And the arrow is pointing towards the passenger side. That's the correct orientation for this to go on there. They give you these washers, which are 14 millimeter. I'm sorry, these nuts to put on here. And you just want to hand tighten those down. I'm sorry, not hand, just use the box wrench as best you can, tighten to as tight as you can to keep it on there. And then you also have down here, this is where the clip came out of, was that little black thing poking out the side. And you can see it just, that wire just went right in there. And then here's where that back bolt was to hold the ABS and the brake line sensors. So we got this on there. I'm just gonna put it back in and tighten it down and then just reverse everything from that direction. So hopefully that helps you guys see how you need to do this. If the video was helpful, give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. And we'll be doing some more videos, and I might even just do one just for the other side. But this is the driver's side install for this, and I'll hopefully break it down a little bit better on the other side for you guys. So you guys have a good night, and we'll see you guys next time.